Hello again. Welcome to Atlanta. What I have for you today is the 38th annual Highland Summerfest. With the usual artist market, food trucks, drinks, kid fest area, live music, etc. All of which you should kind of know by now if you watched any of my previous videos. It is a free event, and I think there's a tour of homes and possibly a 5K run, and it's probably in my top 3 neighborhood festivals. Why? Well, partly because it was one of my first neighborhood festivals and an introduction to in-town living back in 2000. And it made me question why I was living way out in Marietta with nothing to do. And I want you to have the same experience. And part of that experience, just like all the festivals I'm showing you week after week, is probably you underestimating just how large the event is and how many people will be there. And if you happen to arrive at peak time on a nice weather day, all I can tell you is you're going to say, I didn't believe you about the crowd size, and also good luck finding parking. To give you an idea, if you watch my last video on the Jazz Festival, because it's spread out and it's open and you can kind of visually get an idea of how many people are there, in these neighborhoods, in these neighborhood festival videos, because you're tucked under trees or on a street or behind a food truck, there's no way for me to fully demonstrate the size of the event. If I tell you that at peak time on a nice weather day, the same amount of people, or probably more, will be at the Highland Festival as were at last week's Jazz Festival, you probably aren't going to believe me. You just have to go and experience it for yourself, and then come back in the comments and tell me if I was wrong. And if you took my usual advice of skipping the COCA-COLA Museum and coming to this event instead, you will forever thank me for it. One is just a tourist trap geared toward taking your money and giving you a sugar rush, and the other is a much more realistic, tiny version of Atlanta and a better overall experience that likely will make you want to move here. The festival is approximately 1.5 miles from the heart of Midtown and probably 3 miles from the heart of downtown. As far as getting there, I highly recommend if you are physically able, because traffic will be a nightmare and is likely to be extremely congested in all the surrounding areas. I would recommend you take an Uber, but don't go all the way. Get dropped off probably at like 10th and Peachtree and just walk for a little bit. And while you're walking along the way, find an e-scooter or e-bike, because there's a bike path along 10th Street along Piedmont Park. And if you're really fit, like you jog regularly, or you could probably go somewhere, get dropped off along the East Side Trail belt line and take an e-scooter from there up toward Piedmont Park and then into the Virginia Highland neighborhood. Or if you're really fit, like you jog regularly, you could probably almost walk the entire distance. But don't try to drive all the way to the event and be dropped off. First of all, there's going to be a lot of blocked off streets, causing a lot of backup, congestion all around, maybe even all the way back to Midtown. If you are a true local, you should probably be riding a bike to this event anyway. That's the best way to experience Atlanta at this time of year, in my opinion. Anyway, if you are visiting Atlanta for the first time and you get out of downtown, the first thing you'll notice, besides how bad the traffic is, and something that's not mentioned on the tourist websites, is just how green everything is. This is one of my favorite features of Atlanta. The Highland neighborhood is a perfect demonstration of that. And unlike a lot of the outside the 285 perimeter neighborhoods, where people live in these like clear-cut, cookie-cutter house neighborhoods that have no trees, this is a much better version of Atlanta. And by the way, if you're going to a website and anyone else's videos and they say it is Virginia Highlands with an S, that means they probably not lived in Atlanta as long as I have, or as knowledgeable. Leave that site or video immediately and come back and watch mine. There are people that have lived there 10, 20, 30 years and still don't know. There is no S. It's just Virginia Highland. I don't know. Does that sound snobby or something? I don't know. That may make me a little bit of a snob. Anyway, sorry. I have to remember to keep it positive. Just know that over the years, I have yet to meet the person who goes to any of these neighborhood festivals and has a bad experience. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there who might not like them or is think I'm overhyping it or it's just not their thing, that's fine. But look, it's just something to do if you're visiting Atlanta for the first time. It gives you a much better understanding of what local Atlanta is than going to a tourist trap. It's one thing, and I can understand if you go to the Georgia Aquarium, the Pont City Market, or the Beltline. Those are still valid top choices. But if someone who's never been to Atlanta tells me they went to Underground or Centennial Olympic Park or Lenox Mall instead, look, those exist in Atlanta, but I promise you that's not where most local Atlantans will be this weekend. And if you're catching this video in time, I just trust me, this is probably where you want to go. And it's just the type of thing that once you've experienced it, you may start thinking about trying to move here. Don't, by the way, we got too much traffic. Also, something else I should mention, the Highland Summerfest is slightly different than the Highland Porch Fest that was only a few weeks ago and got massively crowded. But it's in the same neighborhood and has almost the same footprint. All right, I think we're going to end it here. And if you got anything from my video or you know someone who is about to visit Atlanta, please direct them to this playlist or my channel. And there will be more content to follow, hopefully each week and on time. And if you happen to be going through a difficult time, take the time to get out there. Take a moment to enjoy the little things in life. Live in the moment. Please, please just be good to each other. It's really that simple. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, so that is a little bit of the Virginia Highland Festival. Porch Fest, actually. So it's a different event. It's a lot of people playing music on their porches, similar to Porch Fest in Oakhurst. If you're wondering about what types of festivals and events are going on, this is like 100% typical of what you will see. And it's always way more people than you think. So like me thinking it's gonna rain and it's not gonna be that many people, nah man, it's people want to get out and do stuff, man. If you've been stuck in traffic all week, then you're gonna want to let loose every once in a while. And so every weekend is a different festival, and I hope to prove that to you.